A game of chess is like a sword fight. You must think first, right? Before you move.
Special technique of shadow boxing. Special technique of shadow boxing. Shadow boxing. Shadow
Okay. Let's get started, Daro, because this is good stuff. All right. So I just wanted to welcome everybody to the Javi Trujillo podcast. This is episode, I think this is going to be episode number 7 with my friend Danny A. Bull, dude. Now, Danny, how long have we known each other now, bro? It's actually been a solid minute now that I think about it.
Probably like 4 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Me and Danny met. We were both training at Bangkok Fight Lab. I was training there as one of the MMA fighters and then teaching some of the no-gi classes. And I got to know Danny over the years. Didn't know that he worked for BBC. Was really interested in jazz, dude. A lot of things that I found interesting. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu. It's like a level ground where these people, everybody comes from a different background. These people that you would never meet in a normal social circle. And especially in Bangkok, bro, because everybody's coming from different backgrounds and cultures and ethnicities. And I always loved it because it was just such a hub of interesting people going in and out of that gym, and still is. And yeah, man, I just wanted to invite you on and to talk about, like, you've traveled the world. Obviously, you've been working in BBC Thailand as of lately, and I just kind of want to see like what do you think's been going on around here, man? Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's great.
Yeah, dude.
Good to be on.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, Danny, and like, bro, I wanted to bring you on because one, you kind of motivated me to do this because you were like, I started seeing you were doing your own, doing stuff on, like, that's where I was learning about video editing, trying to do this stuff and making that little intro for these podcasts and all that. And yeah, man, like, I really think what you're doing is inspiring. And I find it like, how did you get started? Like, how does one become a journalist? Do you go to college for it? Like,
Cool, man. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I went to school. I mean, not everybody goes to school. I know, even after I applied at BBC and I got the job, and I was talking later on with the correspondent who was like part of the hiring process.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Oh, wow, like I didn't even know you went to school for journalism." So I guess like they didn't really even look at the like paper resume in a sense,
Right. So it's just like
compared to the like the work. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a field that it's got like tangible work behind it. You can show like, oh, this is my last cut, my last edit.
Right.
And maybe like that's could be what's most important.
Okay. Nice, dude. And then what kind of was like your motivation to do it? I mean, dude, you're a pretty cultured like guy, dude. I mean, you were born in Brazil, but you've like kind of lived all over the place. You speak like 3 or 4 languages, man. Like how, like what kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Brazil, and then grew up a little bit in Asia, and then I was back in Miami by the time I was 12 or 13. So I really had my like adolescence in the U.S.
Yeah. And
then but I wanted to venture out and explore again, and at that time I really wanted to focus in the Amazon.
Really?
And live, yeah. So I spent a bit of time there in Peru in the Amazon, and my interest was at that time and still is, but I'm living on like the different part of the world is like all these tribes that live in the Amazon, and the culture and the lifestyle, and the best way to share and document that is video. So I started learning about filmmaking, and that was like what led me into the direction. And actually there's a film I saw with a buddy of mine that I've known since we were like, teenagers, and we saw it in college. It's called Baraka. And that film kind of changed the trajectory for me of like what I was going to do or what I wanted to do. And that movie's like it's a nonverbal film, so there's no dialogue. And it's all just like crazy shots of like Nepal, the Amazon, Bali, and just like religious rituals, and kind of how like the whole world is one, but everybody just has like a different practice and how they experience that oneness.
Oh, so it's like, even though there may be like some cultural differences, the underlining tone of like every. Actually, I think I might have seen a part of that film. Is there like a scene where they go to the Nepal like monks and they show them like all like praying in unison? Like I think
Probably.
there's like a famous scene
For
of
sure.
it. Yeah,
Exactly. And so like they have like a lot of those scenes and a lot of like crazy time-lapse videos. So like they're just showing like time and space, and it's amazing. Very, very, very cool film.
And dude, like also while like, I mean, we were talking about this before we started, is like, you know, I mean, so you ended up working for at a point for BBC, and and like with the state of journalism now, like and like this thing with the pandemic and all this going on, it's like you're having so like so much like conflicting information going on. It's like, how are you guys, like you, because you work for like a mainstream media company, like how are you guys navigating like what it kind of just seems like a flood of just very, very conflicting information in this time, man? Like
so I mean, I could speak to Thailand. I mean, you know, we're constantly looking at like the data here, and so there's always official consensus data of deaths and overall deaths per year.
Right.
So that data is not conflicting. Doesn't seem like the numbers are fake here. Right now, there's about 3,000 cases, and I think 52 is the number right now. 52 deaths.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's a shame for the people very sad for the people who have family that have passed. But I mean, we're very lucky compared to numbers that are going up into 90,000 in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, to kind of answer, like, get into mainstream or how media works. I mean, I've never ever gotten a call to say like, oh, you need to put out this kind of information. Like, it's always been, you're on the ground, you report, and that's it. And I'm sure that's how every or most media organizations work. I've only worked at BBC and Associated Press.
Right.
And I know that at those, there are people on like many sides of the political spectrum. Nobody talks politics, but I know it's not like a single leaning.
Right.
You know, it's not a single direction.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, I was thinking about this recently in terms of the U.S. I mean, I haven't been in the U.S. living in about 9 years. And I was just thinking about how it's seeming quite conflicted right now, and everything is politicized. You know, I mean, even the virus. I mean, I was looking here. It's like people are unified in Thailand to come together. They shut down everything for a while, and everybody's wearing a mask. And our virus has, I don't know if that's the reason. Nobody knows the reason. People are saying maybe it's the heat. You know, now there's, you know, I was listening to Joe Rogan and this Rhonda Patrick talking about vitamin D.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know who Rhonda Patrick is. I don't know. Is she like a real doctor? I don't know. I need to look her up more. But it's like, you know, you have all this conflicting data.
Yeah.
So what do you come to in the end? And, you know, back into like the US, you know, I feel like you only have like the people who want lockdown and then people who want to end the lockdown immediately right now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like there's it's somewhat, I feel like there's so much nuance and tiny detail in decisions and politics, but it's just like, it feels like, at least maybe it's because I don't live there and I'm only seeing on social media. Maybe when I'm actually there, there is people who are kind of trying to find what the middle is, but I'll just hear like we need to shut everything down and we need to open up now.
Yeah. And that's,
and you know,
there's no gray area. There's no
or sympathy, you know, there's no sympathy, because I also look at, you know, people who would run their own business,
right?
People who have a payroll, they got to pay their employees. I mean, how long can people go on? You know, but at the same time, I don't know if people are are ready to be, here we're talking about before the podcast that like, restaurants are starting to open, but all the wait staff are wearing like the full face, like plastic face mask, like a welder's mask.
Yeah.
And
And I
you know,
saw in
you
one
get,
restaurant in Bangkok, they're like putting like a plastic screen in between like
yeah,
you and
or they'll put a
another
plastic
person.
screen and it's only like one person, or if they don't have the screen in between, it'll be one person per table. Like that's the
Yeah.
regulation.
Right.
And I wonder if people would take those regulations, if they started to open, would they take those same regulations in the States?
Yeah.
Because I think it's so.
And
I don't know.
and like that was kind of strange, like for me, like coming back, like one, when I was in the UK, obviously kind of seeing how that was handled. They're in complete shutdown. They said, I mean, they're going to go open in phases, but essentially the lockdown from the beginning of March is still intact. They're saying they're going to slowly open up in phases, and then like I think by August, the rumor was that like gyms and because that's basically like my work, and
For
what
sure.
I do is that
Exactly.
they won't open till August. So I was like, bro, I can't stay here anymore. I'm going to run out of money.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
fortunately I flew back home. But when I had landed in Dallas, I had kind of noticed like how you're saying that, yeah, it feels very politicized, because you can kind of see, I mean, I just think about it as the symbol of the mask. It's like either you're for the lockdown by wearing it, or you're not. And that's kind of like,
Interesting.
it's like kind of how they're
Yeah.
picking sides, in a way. It's like everybody's like slowly dividing. And like you said about the sympathy thing, I had noticed that right away, because just looking in my social media groups, and I started to chat, like seeing these people who I guess would be my left-leaning friends, where like they're saying, well, worry about like these people that are potential like at risk for it, the older people, the people with diabetics, all of the things that say that they could possibly get the virus. And then at the same time, when they hear about one of these small businesses wanting to open, they say, good, I hope they all get sick and die. It's like the principle of it is, now I can see that it's not about saving lives, it's about rooting for your team, and vice versa. I see that the people on the other end are saying, well, you can stay inside and you can be a communist and take your unemployment and this and that, and you can do that, but we're not doing that here. We're not going to live like China, and that's kind of what I've been seeing here. And then being back in Nevada, where it's a Democratic senator, but it's technically a red state, and we're in the community that I'm in is a small town community, and the small business community. You can kind of really see, and with the influx of Californians coming, I believe they say about 60,000 people a month are moving into the area, just from a mass exodus from California. So you're seeing this political divide here, and it's been very interesting being back home.
It is.
Yeah. Very, very
Definitely.
interesting seeing that.
Yeah, definitely. So what is that looking like? Because it's like, I mean, to me, that's something that's most fascinating, is that when you said like you're kind of rooting for a team.
Yeah. I mean,
where it's becoming hard there maybe to look at individual points and not just saying like, because this person said it or that person said it, I'm going to go in that direction.
yeah.
And it's, I don't know if it's that easy. I was talking to a friend of mine in Miami who, they own the family owns like a salon, hairdresser, right?
Right.
And it's a small business. So how can you want for them? Like, I understand why they don't want the shutdown. It's somebody I know, they own a business. They want to do it safely, but they need to start to like figure out a way to do that safely, and not just go on for what, 2-3 months and potentially lose their business. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is. But, I look here. We went for a walk here, in the evenings, and I saw. I mean, it's like the big point to me, because either it's like, of course, you don't want the virus to go on, but we've missed containment. It's not going to go away. So I think we have to like try to find a way to live with it.
Yeah.
And I think we're still experimenting to see what that is. But at the same time, it's like, we don't want millions of people to die right now. Like, I don't know what the global death toll, but it's surely past a couple 100,000 now, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's
And then,
I believe it's over like a couple 100,000. I tried to see the last time I looked at the CNN chart, but that's the thing too, man. I wanted to ask you about, like, sometimes with like some of these things like CNN, like I've just noticed things like when I see like Fox News, it'll always show the Dow Jones going in the corner and showing where the market is, and then it seems like CNN is always showing the death toll of
Interesting.
how many deaths are going on, and it's just like,
I hadn't seen that. That's interesting.
For me, I've just kind of started noticing small things like this, and I feel like some people kind of miscue my my political beliefs. I just think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think I would say more like libertarian in most ways. Like, I would like to think that that the individual will take care of his community, and as long as we can do that, there's no real need for a mass regulation, as long as we kind of stay central. But I mean, when you're in a place like the United States or maybe the UK or the places like the EU, when things get more complicated and more, everybody becomes more like globally dependent on each other. And I mean, I feel like this pandemic is like a perfect example of when globalism can be a bad thing, I guess in some ways, or the negative consequences of it. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting how that all plays out. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how people look at that issue with borders right now. I mean, I'm sure people who wanted Brexit in the UK are thinking that this is, a legitimate reason for it. I don't know. I haven't followed that too much, but something I wanted to think about, like in Thailand, in terms of like a small business. We go out for walks every evening, and I was seeing these restaurants that I go to. One is like a falafel place, the other one's a burger spot.
Right.
And it's right here in the middle of the city in Asok on Sukhumvit. It's like, in a good location. Yeah. And now it's May, and, I walk by there, and we've been dealing with this since January, February, probably. And I think the real lockdown started
March,
probably in March-ish, right?
Yeah.
So it's 2 months. But you look at those two restaurants I'm talking about, and they were totally renovated. They have like nice tiling, lights, tables, all that stuff. And now they're emptied out, locked up, and they have a for rent sign because they couldn't handle this catastrophe,
Right.
And so that's what I mean by the sympathy. Like, I also have to feel, even if I want lockdown or don't want lockdown, like, you have to feel for that owner, that business owner,
right?
Because that was somebody who put in their savings, their work, their manpower, like building the place.
And I mean, the belief in themselves to run a business.
Their dream. That to me is the biggest thing. Their dream.
Yeah.
Their dream is suffered.
Yeah, and I mean
that's something that.
I mean, like how you're saying for the restaurants, I've noticed that for gym owners all across the UK.
Totally. Same thing.
Like one of my friends.
Same here.
Yeah, one of my friends. I mean, I know Morgan was stressing, the guy who runs Bangkok Fight Lab. I met my friend Manu, who runs 10th Planet Barcelona. He just opened up, and now this happened.
Right.
Kind of throws him for a spin. So it's like, I also don't want there to be a huge pandemic where there's mass death, but then it's just like, at what point are we saving lives for now that are ruining lives later that could potentially lead to, I mean, didn't they say in Thailand, right, that there's more suicides than there have been happening?
I don't know, but I think a couple of days ago, I mean, there have been, I think it was something like 28 deaths that were related to the financial stress of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And we have 52 deaths, from the actual health illness.
Uh-huh.
So you're looking at 50% right now. And, we don't know if that's going to grow or not.
Right.
But that's a lot if you think about that aspect too. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think there are any easy answers, and everybody's trying to figure it out. And that's why, like you're talking about before, like why the information keeps changing. Like, okay, first you hear, don't wear the mask in the States. Now we're hearing wear the mask. And it's just, people are finding it, or like, oh, this is just a flu. Now it's like, oh, actually it's going to kill people. But, it's so because of this conflicting information, people are not sure what to really believe anymore.
Exactly. And then do you think that like we should hold the journalism and the media responsible for that, because we are getting like politicized messages from certain mainstream media organizations, or even like I mean, now because of like blogging and all that, like somebody who has a major following can just promote something or
Yeah.
give,
And are they saying what's true also? You know?
yeah. Yeah. And
It's something to think about, you know? I mean, I think that's why like things kind of remain, you know, people have to be very careful, like in, I guess, in mainstream, because we have to be sure that it's accurate information. When we
Right.
put out, like, we're not going to say something in our piece unless, like, you know, we're sure, we're definitive.
Right.
So,
And then how does
you
that
know, I
go?
mean, if
Like,
you talk about like mainstream in the States that you're hearing, it's like, yeah, sorry, go on.
oh, I just wanted to kind of ask you, like, how do you guys like validate a story? It's like before you go and like send something out, like how do you
Yeah.
guys like fact check something? Like how what is the process, right? Like there must be something that you right before you just put something out there.
Well,
And
it's the data. It's the
yeah,
data has to be true. We're not going to put out false data, you
right.
know, and that's like there are people who focus on this, you know, like different organizations. Even if you look at Johns Hopkins, like that's the website everybody's looking at now for telling like the cases for COVID globally.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you know, they're a reputable, like one of the best medical institutions, colleges in the U.S.
Right. And then
So
can you explain to me and then see, like, this is what I mean is like things with like the WHO, when the head guy of the organization, when he had asked like how like what Taiwan is handling it, and he just shuts off his computer just
I
because
don't
he
know.
doesn't want to, like,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about that. Like I saw that was from what was it? A Hong Kong newscaster talking about Taiwan, right?
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I can't look. I just don't know.
it's just so no, man. Yeah. And,
There's so much. This comes back to there's so much information,
mm-hmm.
and like I have to focus on like my region and
Right.
make sure that's what coming out of Thailand, Southeast Asia. That's what I need to focus on
Gotcha.
because I can't see everything.
That's going on, and then
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. So then dude, like, so then what's the plan in Thailand? Because I know that they, like, I was seeing, like, following up on I usually follow, what's his name, Richard
Jabero.
Burroughs.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should get him on. He's the best.
Oh, dude, I hope he gets on. I hope I can get him
Yeah.
on, dude. I
He's the
love that
man.
guy. Yeah, I mean, I started following him during the military coup, the last
Right.
coup that we were under, and like that's kind of how I was getting all my information.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Richard Barrow's like a huge Twitter following among expats and probably also Thais in Thailand for
yeah, huge.
don't know.
Yeah, if anybody should follow him and wants to know about like what's going on in Thailand, that guy knows what's up, man, for sure.
Yeah.
But like, so dude, like, what do you are so now that you're I mean, you said you're working, but like I saw, like, you know, like I said, like I was explaining at the beginning of the podcast, you kind of motivated me to, like, you know what, since I know for the foreseeable future, at least 6-7 months, I know I'm not fighting the UFC, so
Wow.
I probably won't get a fight for a while. I might not be able to train people for a while. You know, I mean, I just got back to the States. I might not even be able to get on a fire crew this year. So
Well,
I need
yeah.
some type of outlet, something to do. And when I saw you doing your video editing and all that stuff and showing people how to do it, this motivated me to do this. And so
Awesome. Cool.
like why, when you knew all this was going down and you had a lot of free time, like what kind of motivated you to want to do that for people, or to kind of start giving them another creative outlet? Because your videos are awesome, bro. Like, I learned so much already just to
Dude,
do
thank you, man.
little editing
Cool.
and this and that. But what just motivated that? Were you just bored? Just bored?
I think like I always need to do, like I can't sit still, you know, like I got to do something.
Same.
I got to do something. So and I wanted to do those for a while, and actually I think it more or less had to do with the corona, but
Uh-huh.
also had to do with the fact that like we had just moved,
Uh-huh.
my wife and I, and so we went from like the 1 bedroom to now like a space where I have, you know, an office now. So like I had this space to do these videos I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And and I get asked all the time, like, how do you get into filmmaking and news? So that's where the podcast came from.
Nice.
And then the tutorials, like I had done some ages ago, and I just wanted to like
Upload
really
it,
start
refresh
doing them
it.
a bit more. Yeah, just really get into it because it's kind of the way I see it is like if everybody is creating good content, like it makes me want to make my stuff better. It's like a creative positive competition that everybody is just like improving to get better in the same way that like jiu-jitsu gets better, the same way like skateboarding gets better. Everybody just is like, trying to push boundary and work better, smarter, like that.
Yeah, dude. I
So
mean, and then that's what I've been excited. Like already, just I think this will be my 7th podcast I've done.
it's awesome, man. Cool.
I've had. I just spoke with Sese, the guy that used to do all the murals.
Cool, man.
Like,
Yeah, definitely.
and
I have one of his paintings, dude.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Yeah. For sure.
So I had him because he wanted to do a rebuttal off of what I did with Doug, and even Doug's podcast. It like all of it kind of started making me really like think out like what it is that I believe or what I stand for, my thought process, and how to converse, and then listen to somebody. And it's like, oh wait, this is like jujitsu, but now it's mental. It's like I'm having an exchange with somebody, and maybe I don't completely agree with them, but we're having this verbal conversation, and out of it, we're both going to walk away with this with a better understanding of somebody else's viewpoint and a better viewpoint of my own,
And it's probably better than reading those viewpoints on Twitter where everybody's just arguing. You know what I mean? Like you can find people in person can actually have a conversation. It doesn't have to be an argument. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. And for some reason in social media age, I don't know, we've lost that ability. I think like that is the fear to me, is like I hold freedom of speech very valuable, and people have to be able to speak and have to be able to speak freely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's disappeared in America. And it makes me feel sad.
Yeah, it makes me sad, and it made me really scared, dude, because just the way on both sides, it's not like there's one good side or bad side. There's an absolute silence of one another. One is calling. I mean, I always constantly repost this meme of like this fight of Tyler Durden, where it's like, oh, the left says the right is Nazis, and the right says the left are a bunch of communists, and it's like all I see is a bunch of idiots that fell for the divide and conquer. And here,
wow, that's funny. I'll have to watch that again.
Man, and it's just like. I think it's like everybody doesn't understand that, like, hey, it's understood that everybody's definition of what it means to be an American is a different point of view, but you have to respect the other person's part, like, and you have to be like, I think people have forgotten that, okay, I may not agree with you potentially, but I'm going to express how you feel, and like I just said, we should be able to walk away understanding each other a little bit more. But we've all come to an agreement that, like, you still have the right to say what you say. I may not believe what you say, but I will defend your right to say it,
Cool, man. I love that.
And I think that's what America, at least that's what I was brought up to believe, I like being back home and reconnecting with my roots. Like, I forgot that my family does come from a military background. My great grandfather did serve. He was a Native American, and he could speak Navajo. So he was over in the European front in the Horn of Africa, code talking, and was also we have all these medals, and my grandfather and my grandmother always say that, like, listen, that this country is very special, and that we help to defend freedom of speech, the right to live it, regardless of your color, your credence, or your culture. You can come here and you can have a fair shot, and you can say and believe whatever it is that you want, and that's important to protect.
So why has that belief in the U.S. Gone away, or seemingly to have gone away? Because I've been at least getting the impression that that's not true anymore. People are telling,
I mean, I think it's a combination of a few things, man. I think obviously having somebody like Donald Trump becoming president, and because he's such a polarizing figure, I think is one reason why the divide has split so far. And I think that for starters, and I think the influence of algorithms I think is a big thing
Interesting.
because
Like the echo chamber online.
exactly, because you like they kind of figure out that you only are going to listen to certain things. They're going to just start
And you're
pushing.
watching that for longer.
Yeah, and you're watching that for longer, and you find, and you're getting these external, like where the internet, when I first had the internet, it was like, wow, it's this open expanse area where I can find out about all these cool different things. And now it's like even YouTube algorithms. I look up a certain video, it's just going to make me watch those type of videos.
True.
So it's like I only close in on, you know, I think about it, it's like whatever
definitely.
it is that you want to see, that's what now the internet is providing you. You know, that's what it's just going to show you. So it's like, well, see, look at the data proves me right. I must be right.
Right.
You know, and then I'm going to be around people that also think I'm right. And I think it's like, I feel America at times is just like a pendulum, you know, and we're kind of,
I think that's true. Yeah. I think we go back and forth, right? You know, and I mean, that's my hope. At least whenever I'm back, I tend to feel like the majority of people are quite centered.
Yeah.
And that when I'm on Twitter, I'm just seeing the inflamed versions of each side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fringes, because
I felt like that the last time I was home. I was home in December, and before I was thinking like, man, like what happened in America? I guess like I was looking more like, you know, the Twitter wars. You know, as I'll call it. You know, and I was like, what's going on in my country, dude? And then when I was there in December, I was like, oh, like things still seem kind of normal. Even from people that I know who support
both
you know,
sides,
one or another. And I'm like, okay, things like seem okay.
Yeah. And I think also like something about when you're on a screen, like when you don't have that face to face, when you don't have that eye contact with somebody, it's easy to be like, well, go fuck you, you libtard, or go fuck you racist, MAGA loving. It's easy to do that, but you would never do that to somebody. I mean, like doing this with you and me, just for the fact that I could see you in real time, you know, if we came to a disagreement, I wouldn't get angry with you, you know? So I think something about having that veil,
agreed,
you know, it also kind of rises that. And then like,
and that probably comes from like that sympathy, you know, it's like, once again, it has to do with like people not being able to like see the other person's point of view.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like the shutdown or the COVID, you know?
Exactly. Because like, and I found it interesting because like, I just watched certain friends that I've met in real life, and I know their intentions are they're good people. They just want the best for their family and their friends and obviously their community. But then for some reason online, they'll have this like mental switch, and I don't know what it is that sometimes triggers that. But it's like, oh, I know like one friend of mine who I mean, he's like I know he's gay, and like he when like we voted for like all that, and I was happy for him. It's like, bro, you get to do your things, like you finally get to marry your buddy, like this and that, like great. And then it's just because some small business MAGA person who's like this woman that can't feed her family, he's online like saying all this stuff, and it's like, bro, that same person you've met in real life, she voted for you to do your thing. Like I feel like there's no unison, you know. It's like, listen, man, we're all trying to look out for each other. We're all trying to look for their best. Like when you were hurting and you were in a bad position, you know, they helped you out and recognize your point of view and the way you want to live your life. And this person, they also want you to feel like you recognize them. If that lady feels like she needs to open up her hair salon because she needs to feed her children because that's her way of living, how's that any different than what we want to do? That's what makes America great. We all get a fair shot. And you should see that from their side, you know. And I just felt it like when I saw that, I was like, wow, dude, something must be going on online, because I know him in real life. He's the nicest, sweetest person I ever known, and yet he's saying a very nasty thing online, and it didn't make sense.
For sure.
It did not
well,
make sense.
That's why they say if you want to be happy, stay off social media, right? You know.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then and I had to stop with the news for a bit because I felt like I was getting panic attacks from it at some points.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone's become a bit more complacent. I think back in I mean, for me, it was like in March, and you know what? I wasn't ever like, my fear and anxiety from this thing didn't come necessarily from the actual health issue, because I really, like, you know, my demographic, like, yes, there is a percentage that I will not make it, but that's like
Yeah.
so small. So I'll probably be okay. But I still don't want it because it seems like a freaking nasty virus to get.
Yeah.
But I was always more worried about like the societal impact. People kind of like falling off and people get desperate when there's no income coming in. And so that was like my first instinct was that.
Me too, man. Me too, dude.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, when they first were talking about this and talk about the shutdown and all the potential things, man, I was ready for Mad Max, bro. I was like kind of pumped up at first. I was like, bro, I'm ready. Assless chaps. Let's freaking do this.
I'm sure. Like this is what I've been training for.
I've been waiting this for my whole life, dude. Waiting my whole life for this, and then it just ended up me just staying at home in my sweatpants,
For sure, man.
And I was like, well, this wasn't the apocalypse I was hoping for, but all right, man. I guess I'll just watch some more Rick and Morty and just wait until they tell me I can go back outside. But
definitely.
But yeah, but once I saw that, like, they were, it seemed like it was getting. I think I started to lose it probably about 2.5 weeks in. I started to feel it because like I was just trying to make sense of it and just trying to get all the information I possibly can, speaking with like my doctor friends. Like I was explaining, I have a doctor friend in Thailand who runs a nice clinic, is treated some really, really high up people in Thai society, and I've been to his clinic, and it's quite nice. It looks like something out of Star Trek, so I know he's a legit doctor. It did. I felt like I was in Star Trek, bro, when I stepped in this place. It was like, oh, this is amazing. And he was telling me, like, listen, dude, the data doesn't line up. He's like, oh, I know it's not FDA approved, but he was talking about that hydrochloroquine. He's saying that you combine that with zinc and vitamin C, it can be a good counter off it. Obviously, you have to go through all these tests, and we don't know how it's going to seem. But from what my research and what I guess he's part of like little groups that discuss this between the doctors. He's like, oh, it could be a thing. It's not that bad. If you're not part of this demographic, then you're going to be okay. And then I spoke to my friend another doctor friend who specializes in children, who works for NHS, another jiu-jitsu guy. And he explained to me, listen, man, it's more deadlier than the flu. It obviously attacks your lungs.
But I mean, it is right now.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, and the justification of it is that they're just trying to make sure that we don't overload our hospital systems because we don't
That's fair.
We don't have enough beds. And then he's just like, he's just saying, it's like, oh, well, it might. He's like, well, you're probably because you're a healthy guy, but we don't know who exactly it's affecting. So that's why we're doing all this. And the infection rate might be, I think at the time he told me that it could stay up onto a surface for, I believe it was like 5 to 7 days was like their conclusion, which I thought was insane, but like, so I was just trying to take this in from my doctor friends. I was trying to take this in from looking at CNN, Fox News, BBC, trying to see, okay, everybody has their little agendas. Everybody maybe who's neutral, and then like find the middle ground and all that, not that. And still, I'm still completely lost, dude. I don't know.
There's just not enough information, man. This is like something we haven't been through, and there's just not enough information. We're in, the first 4 months of a pandemic. We haven't been through this before.
Yeah. And I think it's
but I think erring on the side of caution is good because we don't know. I mean, people say like, oh, a lot of people haven't died. I mean, 90,000 is a lot of people dead in the U.S. when we have like 52 here, and I don't know what the reason is. Like I said, we just don't know. Is it the mask? Is it that it's not like people bow here. It's not like a touching society. Is it the sun? Is it the heat? We don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm sure once more information comes out, hopefully we will have a definitive reason why that is the case. Right now, we don't have that.
Yeah. And like mentally at all, because like, I mean, did you kind of feel like the push from this, or were you just like, because I feel like in times of crisis,
feeling stress of this thing?
Yeah, because I feel in times of crisis, either people break down or they rise to the occasion, Like,
yeah, I mean, like so for me, like it was that I had like my kind of pink anxious thoughts when I think it was February. You know, we were still we were in Malaysia for a story on a political crisis that happened there. The former prime minister resigned, and it was a bit of an ordeal there of what was going to happen next. But as soon as we landed in Malaysia, they were saying a couple things. They were saying that everybody who comes back, we need to quarantine for 2 weeks. Anybody who comes back into Thailand from Malaysia, and Malaysia had less cases than Thailand. So now we're starting to look at like how our work and our travel is going to start to be affected by the virus.
Right.
You know, we had just moved, and I wanted to make sure that our home was prepared and safe for my wife and I, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So you know, like I was just like, I want to get back. I want to get back. I want to like get back and just get all the food. You know, I mean, we didn't massively hoard, but like every time we'd go shopping, I would get like a couple more.
You
So I
stock
just-
up on
I've
TP
just-
or what? I guess
No,
there's-
so I didn't go TP because TP, whatever we have, you know,
we got
have
the bum gun, dude.
We
Thailand
got
already
bum
solved that
gum,
problem.
we got water and all that. So I think TP wasn't the main issue, but you know, I wanted to get like just like a bag of rice, some pasta, and tomato sauce. You know what I mean? I just
yeah.
want to have that, like just
Essentials
essentials
if
that
you got it. Yeah.
essentials that like, you know, I always had like in my house growing up.
Yeah.
But just that's there, and then you get like, you know, little extra things that you want if you want to have like a chicken or a steak or something, you know.
Yeah.
But just like essentials that are just always in the fridge. But we had just moved, so like our house was empty. You know, we didn't have anything. So I just wanted to get that sorted. So that was like what caused. And as soon as that happened, like as soon as that was sorted, like I kind of chilled that, and it was just maybe it's fatalistic. Like okay, it'll happen or it won't. We'll just see what happens.
And then, man, like, you know, like we were talking about the businesses closing, and I've been seeing the photos and all over Bangkok of all these restaurants you're saying, and the for rent sign and now, and
yeah,
like, dude, what, but when I saw that video of like all, like what I loved about it and what I still love about Thailand, especially like for the expat community, is that like they really kind of came together to kind of help out the locals. And like, can you kind of just like express like what was going on, dude? Because that's what makes me love Thailand. It's like, look at all these different expats from different areas. We've all known that like there are, you know, Thailand is still a developing country, you'd say. I wouldn't, you know, and there's still a lot of people that are out of work and left out. And I just saw from the video, like it was a beautiful thing to see in a time where I feel like it's just constantly negative press. When I saw that video, it gave me hope that, you know what, the better parts of humanity are still there, you know?
I think that's awesome. And I think that's something that this does show us here. I mean, I'm sure it's happening in the States too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, everywhere. I mean, people are, you know, any crisis will either show you the best or the worst side of people. And thankfully, at least I've been seeing a lot more of like it bringing out the best of people. You know, we've been seeing like families that have, you know, a wealth of money have been setting up food banks with, you know, you'll have like a styrofoam box is very common here for takeaway food in Thailand with like rice and either like a curry pork or chicken or something to have their meal sorted. At least people are eating. You'll see that a lot here.
Yeah.
You'll see that very often here. And, you know, there was a lady that in our neighborhood who's like always out in the community. I've always said hello to her. Hello. She always talks to everybody. She's like the local grandma, basically, you know.
Nice,
she's like super young minded. And, you know, she's in a good financial position, and she was just going out and like handing out food and to even all like the motorbikes here in Thailand. We have like motorcycle taxis.
Yeah.
There's guys with like the orange vests on, and we'll take you around any place you want for like $1 or something like that.
Yeah, like 20, 30, 40 baht. And it's an experience.
Yeah.
So if you guys ever go to Bangkok, Thailand, you got to try it once.
Yeah, for sure. And so like, you know, and look, you know, they don't earn a lot of money. And right now, like when no one's going out, you're not, you know, your income has gone like almost to zero. So she was going out and like giving food and money, especially to them. She's like, I won't ride the bikes right now because I'm in that age group. You know, she's like late 60, 70. but I will just like hand out some 20 baht notes to all these motorbike guys that I would go on and say, look, I'm not riding, but you know, here's what I normally would ride. So yeah, have that. And that's the kind of thing that shows you like what you can become in a time of crisis.
Yeah, man. But that's what I like loved about like your work, dude, is like you're showing that, you know, and I feel like we need a lot more of that right now because, you know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's some people, obviously, they're trying to divide and conquer. They're trying to spread hate and fear and all these things. And like you said earlier, you're looking on your Twitter feed, it looks like America is going crazy. And then you show up and it's like, oh, you ever heard this comic named Bill Hicks? He has this,
amazing. It's hilarious.
He had this bit about CNN that I thought was hilarious. He's like, yeah, I like to, every now and then at night, I just like to watch some fear porn, watch CNN. And it's like, God damn, Ted Turner must just hate the world. It's just like, well, if I can't get laid, nobody can. Tell everybody they can die from AIDS, dude. And it's like fear, rape, murder, killing, stealing. And then he's like, oh, and then Bill's like, yeah, I look outside and it's like, there's just like, I just hear like crickets chirping, like chirp, 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 chirp. And it's like, there's a bird flying. The sun's out. Where's all this death and destruction, dude? It's beautiful outside. And like, you know, like you said, it's like these people will talk all this online. And yet, I don't know. I mean, I've only been home for a few days, but in these few days, I've seen that like the community has actually gotten stronger from this, you know, and that gave me hope. You know, it gave me a lot of hope because that's what I was afraid of too. Coming home was like, man, it sounds like things are getting crazy. Sounds like
like you know, you're on the verge of war in the States or something. Maybe you know, dude. when I read Twitter, you know.
Yeah, dude, it's like, oh man, I gotta buy some guns and some ammo and some stock up on gold. And I was like, but then I got here and it's like, wow, it's a beautiful day. Like my first day here, it's like, wow, there's a freaking rainbow outside, dude. My neighbor just waved at me, you know, and it's like, oh, nah, man, we can't give in to this and we can't give in to the fear and we got to step up. And like, you know, I think I listened to one of your interviews and, you know, you guys are talking about all the different journalism you guys do around the world. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But like at the same time, it's like, you know, like I watched one of your things on your online thing and you're showing the beauty of that is this planet, dude. And I just feel, maybe it's because fear sells more. Maybe it's because these things are more, we pay attention more. But I feel like, you know, we need guys like you that are giving out like these.
I mean, I think the reason those things are on is because, you know, like there are like harrowing stories in the world. There are like real abuses that happen in the world, and those need to be covered because they need to be, you know, you have to shed light on the darkness.
Right.
And that needs to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think that we're just in a fearful time right now.
Right.
With like in regards to like coverage of the virus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, we can only cover what's here. Mm-hmm. And I think we're in a very different country, a very lucky country.
Yeah.
Where it has not hit the way we expected it to hit. You know, we had the first virus outside of China was Thailand.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we were like prepared for it to go bad. And this is why I don't know. I mean, maybe it is the mask, you know, we don't know. No. Look, everybody in Thailand has a mask and wears a mask. It's common in Thai culture to wear a mask even if you have like a cold, you know, like a regular cold or a cough. People just wear that here. So it's normal to see a mask in Thailand. And you'll see it in and everybody had it because the past couple of years we've had bad pollution in the winter.
Yeah, that's right.
So everybody has like an N95 mask. You know, everybody has like a pretty serious mask. So as soon as the virus really came out, like, you know, everybody had a mask on. And actually, I remember walking out to the park with Naomi, my wife, and we were, and it's like towards the beginning, probably February, March, maybe February. I was thinking, man, like, you know, we are the only two people without a mask on right now. Mm. And, you know, it felt like kind of rude and it's just socially unacceptable that we weren't wearing a mask. So we like ran back home to get a mask because it felt like, you know, we're the
the odd man out, the black
Yeah,
sheep in
and
the group.
especially
Yeah,
and especially being a foreigner, you want to give a good reputation to foreigners here, also, because
yeah.
not all the time,
Because
you
wasn't
know.
there like I don't know I don't know if it was Richard Barrow that I saw, but there was like people getting angry saying that there was like Westerners spreading it because they refused to wear the mask or
There was something, but I
yeah
think it was taken back, like that statement. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh no,
But
it was the health administrator, right?
there was something,
Yeah, dude.
but I mean, look, it's a tense times, whatever. So
And
you have to take that stuff and also realize, like, yeah, a lot of people weren't wearing masks, and that's the thing. Like, it's kind of bizarre to me in a way to see that the mask is a debate in the U.S. right now.
yeah,
I think I've just been seeing this the last couple of days that,
it just seems like it's a symbol.
it's a symbol.
It's a
Fine.
symbol of what side you're on.
Yeah. And
And
I don't know. I mean, it's funny because I probably see it different that I'm living here. I mean, maybe I
yeah,
would see it differently if I was just in the States. But I mean, being here, like, to me, it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, what's the big deal? I'll wear a mask when I'm outside, and I'm at home. I'm not wearing a mask, and I mean, it's not like a big deal to me to just put the mask on, and maybe it does something, maybe it doesn't, but I think it does, and we don't know right now. We just don't
yeah,
know.
we
So why
don't.
not take a precaution, and we'll see what happens when the data comes out later on.
Yeah, and then it's like I think what it is in America, and maybe it's just because it's the American mentality where like it in Asia, I believe it. I don't know if it's a Japanese or a Chinese frame, but isn't it like the nail standing gets the hammer, right? The nails that's standing up gets
Hmm.
the hammer. Everybody kind of always wants to fall in line, as we're like I've noticed in
Sure,
America. It's like, wait a minute, why is everybody getting together? Dude, this is some
totally.
fucking bullshit, bro. We're not
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah.
I'm not bowing down to these fucking this is
No, I know.
1770s, and I
Well,
think that's just what it is.
that's also something else I wonder. I mean, is how much of it is policy and how much of it is societal,
Yeah,
of why it's so big in a sense. I mean, like I said, I haven't followed the state so much, but I don't know. But I
yeah,
mean, you have to think about, like, you know, here, I mean, people are always saying that, or giving like the Thai government a bad rap. I don't know if that's true or not, but people are always saying, like, the Thai government's not taking care, or they are taking care. People are like both sides, just like they are in the States. People
yeah,
are like either for it or not, right? There's always a political divide. But here, maybe it's societal, the reason it hasn't been so bad here. So, I mean, that's the same for the States. Who can you blame? Maybe you do blame the administration. Maybe you don't. I don't know enough to say
yeah,
like why it's so bad in the States.
yeah. It's a
And then I was reading, like, once again, it goes back to, like, I'm not a business owner, and if I was, I'm sure I would be like, I would feel different if I was a business owner,
yeah,
especially
and
if I had payroll. Look at, like, the Elon Musk was saying he's going to open up his plant, and he's saying, like, you can, if you want to arrest somebody, you come arrest me.
yeah, and I mean,
Otherwise, I'm moving to Texas.
yeah, and then like for like my family, they own a small business here in town, and they try to stay open as long as possible. And when they did do the shutdown, I mean, they had to go and apply for the loans that basically the Congress and the administration were giving out to keep them
Yeah,
afloat. And
yeah.
then it's just like, okay, so maybe my political bias is switched is because I feel like my family is dependent on them staying open. So is it that I just
Interesting.
care? Is it? And then in my mind, that's what I've been wrestling, especially this last week. Is like, well,
But you
is
see,
it? Am I doing it because I feel like for my own personal family's benefit that okay,
yeah.
I want my family to be protected. I want them to keep their living, but screw this person whose grandmother or father, or whoever, could be potentially at risk. And then it's just like, well, where does that line drawn? Because
But dude,
you know,
that's exactly it. I mean, most of our politics either come from, like, how, that's the thing we have to always question. Is our politics because of what we, like, truly believe, or because of, like, the environment we are brought up with, or what content we're consuming online,
right?
right? And I think it's good to constantly, like, go through this and question us. But at the end of the day, like, we want to do what's right for our family
Right.
and the people that are directly surrounding us, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know about the person over there. I mean, it's very hard to really think selflessly and think about somebody else compared to like, we need to take care of ours. We need to take care of ourselves, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it totally makes sense, I mean, and that's where like that conversation about sympathy comes from. It's like people need to know that there are, some people who work for a company and they know that they're getting payroll, and then there are some people who have their own business, and once again it comes down to like, and I don't know what the situation is with the government loans. They're letting people, they're helping people out through a few months, or what is it?
They will help to, like, my mom applied for the loan, and part of the deal is that they had to rehire all of their employees back. At least I think it was a minimum 80% of their employees. They just hired them all, and
Yeah.
otherwise they wouldn't qualify. So,
Right.
and then also my aunt, she moved here from
But
California.
and then what? Then is it a loan, or is it
That
uh
that I gotta kind of ask more about it, because she said they finally got approved for it. I don't know if they have to pay them back
right?
or what exactly is going on. I didn't ask her too much with it, just because like I've been,
Yeah.
like, for me, like, my conclusion of this virus, I believe it's a little bit more deadly than the field flu. I know I probably don't have it, but because I was in the airport, an international airport in a country that does have a high number of cases, I'm taking all the precautions. I'm sitting in quarantine. I'm in her back lot. I'm trying to stay away from her because I know I don't want to give it to my grandfather
Yeah, for sure.
or anybody. But
Definitely makes sense.
I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to her exactly what's going on with the loan policies, but she knows that she applied for it and was approved, and that's
Yeah.
what's keeping them afloat right now.
Yeah.
And at least getting these guys their payroll. And before, I mean, I don't even know if I should be saying this because I don't know if she can get in trouble, but like they were trying to do what they can even under the lockdown just so they could get the minimum, so they're not in the red. That was
Yeah.
kind of what they were doing.
Well, exactly. You don't want to lose everything, but it's I wonder, like, it's also not, it's also about people's purpose. You know what I mean? Like, even if there is money to be had, like, people are going to have, it's their dream, like if people who own their own business, it's their dream normally, right?
Yeah.
And that's a thing that needs to stay alive after this is all done, and hopefully everybody makes it through, is to keep that dream alive and keep it healthy.
Yeah. And I mean, man, that's what, like, dude, I mean, that's fucking right on, bro. Cause during all this, and then kind of talking with a few people, it's like, okay, I have nothing but time right now. I got my 24 hours in my day. What is it that if money wasn't an issue, which it isn't, what would I be doing? Well, I'd be training every day. I'd be exercising. I'd be getting my mind right. I've been trying to educate myself in philosophy, trying to become a better speaker because of this. And I've always wanted to do like a podcast thing where I was like, man, I know a lot of cool motherfuckers. I want to go and talk to them, see what they're about, and I want everybody else to know who these people are. And that's kind of what this whole COVID thing kind of made me do, is like, what's really important to you, Javi? If you didn't have to worry about the hustle and bustle, and I feel like what's nice about this is it made everybody slow down for a minute and kind of think like,
Definitely.
okay, you don't got shit. You don't got nothing. You're not getting paid. You don't have anything to do. What is important to you? What is important to your life? And if you get up every day and you know that money's not an option, none of these things are, then it's like, I want to dedicate my time to my art. I want to talk and hang out with cool people like you and then my friends. And I just, and that's all I wanted to do, and it made me
Definitely.
realize
It's been a very reflective time for the world, which is,
yeah.
I mean, we've never had
Yeah.
we've never had a moment where everybody can just sit and take a pause to see what's like really important.
And
in
then
their life.
and then I mean,
I don't know
look
if we've
at,
had that.
no, and then on top of that, not only just like isolated, but globally, we're all experiencing this
Everybody.
at one time.
Exactly. For sure.
Like you and me, we're talking in real time, and
Yeah.
you're halfway across the world right now.
Yeah.
And you're experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing at this moment. I mean, maybe it's a different place, but we're all stuck in this boat together.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like even if like I know like everybody gives me shit when I go like maybe it's the 10th planet guy. I mean with the conspiracy and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
but I think about like okay, they put on the quarter the bat. The bat is on now on the new American quarter. Have you seen that?
The what?
On they just the U.S.
No,
Mint just put out a new quarter, and now there's a bat on it. There's a bat on the back of it before all this started, which is weird.
Yeah.
And then that they're saying the story about it,
Oh, okay, I didn't know where you're going with that. You mean because the coronavirus started with the bat and
yeah,
is that what you mean?
With the guy eating the bat.
Look at that. Okay, all right.
And then the guy supposedly, right? That was the story. A guy ate some bat suit and ate the bat, right? And then it leaked over. And then now they're saying or the other story, right, is it was leaked from that lab that was mixed with a bat virus to possibly. But anyways, I looked up the symbol of what a bat means. And what it means is in a lot of cultures that it is a symbol of rebirth. It is coming out of the darkness, and because a bat can see in the dark, it is bringing the darkness to light. And I think that we're all going through a rebirth of consciousness and bringing
that sounds good.
The deceptions and the lies and like what is going on right now. Everybody's trying to. There's so much deception going on that I think everybody now is like in hunger for the truth and bringing the truth out of the darkness. And I think as a human species, that's what we're all experiencing at one moment right now. Yeah.
Sounds good for sure. Definitely.
Oh, shit, dude.
Definitely. Dude,
well, fuck, bro. Like, I don't know if you got to bounce, if you got to go work, but like, Danny, dude, it was awesome having you on, bro. And like, before we leave, like, bro, like, dude, like, you were talking about, like, I saw your one, I want to watch it. I have it on my save video list of like, do you have to go to college to be a journalist? And I don't know, it kind of motivated me. Like, you know what I've always wanted to do is like travel the world. Like this has always been my saying. Then that's what I've been doing is traveling the world and fighting its people. And I thought about like your documentary video motivated me. That's what I want to do is I want to go to Africa and go do the crazy little dance and go wrestle a dude. I want to go do bare knuckle boxing again.
That's pretty cool, man.
Field.
Yeah.
And like I said, you inspired me to do all this. And like, let's say another guy watching this who's also jobless, who's also who've been wanting to do things like that. Like what would you say to them? Like, what would you say to get started in doing all this? Like, you buy a camera, like where would you get started? Like,
I mean, I think right now it's, like getting into your own community. I mean, everybody wants to see what's going on in their community, right? Like these are all, it's all stories. It's all storytelling, right? And I think right now we live in a pretty amazing time where you don't need like a crazy expensive camera anymore, especially like everybody. I mean, at least most people in the States, I think has an iPhone.
Yeah.
Or a Samsung or something, right?
Right.
And these cameras are pretty good. I shot a vacation video I did with my family, and like a lot of the shot look great just on that, but like beyond that, like the only thing you can't really get on an iPhone would be like really clean audio. So I mean, you can source that a different way.
How would you do that? I mean,
I don't know.
I'm just curious for myself now. So
honestly, I mean, like, look, the audio sounds really good for you right now, right?
Yeah.
So you're just recording that in a pretty quiet room on your phone. So even if you were like doing voiceover on top, that works pretty good. And there's, even on the phone, there's that that voice app, right?
Right.
There's a voice recorder, and that could be like your clean layer underneath. So you don't need to record at the same time. Yeah. So I mean, I would start there. But I think the most important thing, and every time I put out a video, I try to make sure that it's better. I'm always trying to push myself and make my shots either look better, feel better, the movement better, the lighting better, the edit better. So in the beginning, I think every project say like, okay, on this shoot, I'm just going to work on making like smooth edits. On the next one, I'm going to work on like making cool depth of field, which is like, the foreground, like the foreground's in focus
Mm-hmm.
and the back's out, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But, and that has to do with like the distance of the lens with the object in front, and that's how you create those kind of effects. And so just every story try to like work in one aspect, and then it just keep going and don't stop.
Bro, that's just like how I train. That's just how you train for jiu-jitsu, dude.
Dude,
that's how I explain it to everybody.
For sure. I mean, that's something I remember. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was thinking like, I think it was around like 9 months to a year. I was like, I just couldn't figure out. I was like, there's got to be like a good metaphor, but like jiu-jitsu is like, jiu-jitsu is more than jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is like a metaphor for life, how you live life, because it's figuring out like small problems, and then you get better, and then there's a new problem, and you get better, and then there's a new problem to tackle, and it's the same thing in life, and it's the same thing in learning any trade, any skill.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think it was Musashi Miyamoto says, is like, once you can learn it in one thing, you can understand it broadly in others, like
cool.
Like when I saw in your videos, I was like, oh, okay, like this is how, like, a fundamental move that a white belt should learn. Once you get that, then you get another stripe, then you can, like,
very cool.
do
Love that.
And like every video, like I've been trying to get better and better at the editing. It's like, okay, great, I finally made this transition, I've done this. It's like, okay, this is getting fun, and then yeah, man, like it's an awesome way to think about it, for sure, man.
But dude, I love that idea that like once this all ends and traveling's out there, like that would be an awesome video series, like traveling the world and fighting the world's people. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's what I've been doing. Like I went to Thailand to do that, train Muay Thai.
Definitely.
Everywhere I go, that's how I get to know people. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm shit at like learning languages or this or that, but I can go to any place, and if I can find a gym, I know I can figure something out. And what I loved about martial arts in general, I was talking about this with Tommy the other day. It's like, what I love about MMA and what I love about martial arts is that there is no lying. I can know so much about a person, 5 minutes sparring with them, than I can have in a 2-hour conversation. I can understand their culture, I can understand their upbringing, I can understand how they tick, how they break, and without a single word being said, I can completely understand a person's character that way. And for me, this is what's been fun, especially on my travels, like going to Europe and doing this bare knuckle boxing fight. Like I've understood the English culture so much better because of it. I've understood the gypsy culture more because of it, because that's who really was really great at this sport. And the same with Muay Thai. You really understand the Thai culture by understanding their art. And I feel the same about American wrestling. And what I want to do is, like, I want to go to Senegal, where they have their style of wrestling, where they do this ritual and a crazy dance out on a soccer stadium, and they have like, it's almost like boxing and wrestling. And I want to try that and document it. And I want to go to Mongolia to try theirs. And I want to try then. Well, I saw you doing the documentary thing. I was like, that's what I want to try and do.
That's awesome, dude. I think that's like really freaking cool.
Yeah, and just call it Javi Trujillo for travel the world, fight his people, dude. And
that's
just
cool, man. I love that.
Just
great.
how to
cool.
And so I don't know. Hopefully, when all this is done and we can
Yeah.
travel again, maybe from it being a dream, I can try and make it a reality.
Yeah.
Dude. But definitely, I would love your help if you could give me tips on it for sure.
Anytime, dude. Anytime.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Well, fuck, dude. Well, thanks so much, man. Thanks for coming on. I know we've been trying to do this for a bit. I know you've been busy, but bro,
great,
like,
man.
like
fun.
I love catching up with you, dude. I love what you do.
Likewise, dude.
And thank you for inspiring me to do all this, man. Like, really.
Cool, man. Yeah, definitely.
We'll see,
Yeah.
dude.
I look forward to watching it, man.
Yeah, and then before we leave, dude, do you got any plugs? If anybody wants to get in contact with you, or anybody wants to follow you on any of your social media or your website, like where can they find you, or where can they get a hold of you?
Cool, man. Yeah. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Danny A. Bull, like the animal. And yeah, man, hit me up. I'm always around.
Right on, bro. Well, thanks again, man,
boss.
dude. And I'll
okay,
end
bro.
the recording. Hold on.
Cool, man.